Okay, welcome to PJNET Live. It is Build the Wall night, Friday night here at PJNET, and we are excited to see so many guests here with us live in the chat room, but I am even more excited for the same reason everybody else is in the green room right now is a man that is personally known to me and also a wonderful brother in Christ. His name is Rich Hobson. Now, Rich Hobson is running for U.S. Congress in the great state of Alabama, our neighboring state here in Florida. And if you haven't heard of Rich Hobson, you probably have heard of Judge Roy Moore. Well, Judge Roy Moore has been relying on the counsel and direction of Rich Hobson as one of his closest collaborators in his political career. So Rich is now getting a chance to run as a candidate himself. So let's bring him out of the green room and onto our screen by phone. He just left an event in Alabama, and he's calling in now as a favor to PJNET. And Rich, tell us about the event that you just left, and you're now, I guess you're headed home.
No, we're still on the trail. We still have miles to go before I sleep. But thank you very much for having me on here, Coach. And you've caught me in a fantastic mood, and it's because it's already been a good day, and I have just left a Bama Carry meeting. And Bama Carry is a Second Amendment group in the great state of Alabama. And as you can imagine, it's fellowship, it's hanging out with some really, really fine people, about the finest people on earth. They, of course, have a love and desire for the Second Amendment and for us to be able to keep and bear arms. And with that, it just comes the best kinds of people. I mean, they're good Christian brothers and sisters and folks with lots of things in common. And we had a great evening. I was able to speak for a little while. There's some other candidates there, and then there was a main speaker. But the main thing was just good fellowship, hanging out with folks with common interests, and bound hearts together like that. So you caught me in a real good mood.
Well, Rich, the campaign trail is not something new to you, but there's a difference here because instead of being a part of the campaign and even the campaign manager, now you're the candidate. How is it different?
I guess I'd have to start by saying it's more fun to run. All right. So, Coach, it really is more fun to run. And I have been involved in several different campaigns. Most of them with Judge Roy Moore. And, I was just now his campaign manager when he was running for the U.S. Senate. And that ended in December, and I was very saddened. I still am sad and wondering why. But I'm sorry for the way that turned out. But we started about a year ago on that campaign trail, and it was giving 100% all the time. And really, since that time, there hasn't been any kind of let-off. We had, I guess there was about a 2-week span after the December election where I went and visited my daughter because we were waiting for a granddaughter to be born. And that was about the only little downtime that we had. But I think that's a good thing because I never got lazy. I never did get off of the trail, really. So I've just continued on. And it is a little bit different being out in front, but it's just more meaningful. I mean, of course, stumping for Judge Roy Moore, I believe in him all the way. I've worked with him for 20 years. I've known him for about 25, 26 years. And it's been a pleasure working with him. And I still get to talk to him all the time. I talked to him this morning before I went on a radio show. But being the candidate is a little bit different. And it's just been a great experience on its own, and I look forward to continuing on the trail. We still have about 59 days until the primary election, which will be on June the 5th.
Well, I know, Rich, that, in going to some of the events and all the hectic things that go on there, folks, I just want you to know that Rich, in working with the Judge Roy Moore campaign, has always shown hospitality and favor to PJNET. There's a lot of competition among media when you get to these events. And Rich has always, I've always been able to kind of tap him on the shoulder, and he would arrange for us a special place at that event. And it's just great to have a friend inside that. And what would really be great, is to have a friend in Washington, D.C. as a United States congressman. Rich, I asked this to other candidates. I think it would be suitable to ask you. I
Sure.
sincerely believe, and I think we've talked about this over some wonderful pancakes. I think a lot of people sincerely run for office wanting to go change Washington, D.C., and then when they get there, Washington changes them. If you are fortunate enough to represent the people of Alabama, how can you assure yourself, let alone the electorate, that won't happen to you?
Coach, that is a great question, and it's one of the reasons why I'm running. Besides the myriad of problems out there, working with Judge Roy Moore these past 2 decades, and my background is the court system, okay? And I ended up being the state court director twice under Chief Justice Moore. So in that role, I had a budget of $180 million that I had to develop, and then I had to secure from the state legislature. And then I had to do the all-important live within the budget, just like the hardworking families in Alabama and everywhere else has to do. But in doing all of that, I went through several experiences that have been life-changing and have given me just so much meaning. And the first one, you guys will recall, is that first battle that Judge Moore went through. And that was the Ten Commandments battle, the battle for the acknowledgement of God. Now, since I was the director of the state court system, I was right alongside him as Chief Justice. And I was asked to bend, I was asked to fold, just as he was many times. And I'm thankful to say that I did not. And I did not denounce. I hung in there with him. And ultimately, I had to pay the price. But that's not a bad thing. I mean, that's training that the Lord does. So when Judge Moore was finally removed from office back in 2003, I was fired the next day. Now, that may sound like a bad thing, but later on we were able to go to the Foundation for Moral Law, and that ended up being just a fantastic experience. But later on in the 2000s, I guess in 2012, Judge Moore and I had talked about it, and he had asked me, what do you think about going back? And going back meant going back to the court system. Well, we didn't really know, but we prayed about it, and we had this enormous sense of peace to go back. And we started a campaign with no money, and we worked real hard, and the Lord was in it from day one, and Judge Roy Moore won without a runoff in that heated, contested primary in 2012, and went on to be Chief Justice. So actually, we went back to our old jobs. I mean, we went back to our old offices. We had the same furniture, and we had been gone for 9 years. But Judge Moore was Chief Justice Moore again, and I was Director of the state court system. So I'm there over the 2,000 employees and the 252 circuit and district judges and 68 circuit clerks, and I was just doing the thing again. And I was thinking that was going to be my career, and Chief Justice Moore thought that was going to be his career. And lo and behold, another issue comes up, another very large issue, large and important, and that was traditional marriage between one man and one woman. And Chief Justice Moore stood up and said what was correct, that marriage is between one man and one woman. And, of course, I'm in that same role. I'm director of the state court system. I'm right alongside of him. And I was asked to denounce. I did not. I was asked to bend or fold. I did not. So, ultimately, he was removed. And, once again, I was fired the next day. Now, I tell you that long story to say that the swamp exists all over the place. I mean, the swamp is definitely in Washington, D.C., but the swamp is in every state capital, too. And in Montgomery, Alabama, it is alive and well. And the swamp tried to change me, and they couldn't. Washington, D.C. will try to change me, and they won't. I have been through the fire, literally being fired, and I came out standing up strong, and the Lord always blesses those efforts. And I believe that it has trained me up for a time such as this, where I can go to Washington, D.C., and I can say, I'm ready for this, and they're not going to change me. So there you go. There's my answer for you there, Coach.
Rich, I can't think of a better answer. I had some other questions, but you know what? We'll do that another time because you just knocked it out of the park. Folks, I can tell you from personal testimony that the words you've just heard are true. I can tell you that it is my sincere opinion that Rich Hobson is an untouchable. It's easy to talk the talk. It is easy to profess Christ when it doesn't cost you. Folks, it's hard to do it when it costs you. Rich has paid twice, as has Judge Moore, for standing by his brother in Christ. and it's cost him his job twice, and he didn't back down. Folks, what a testimony that is. Folks, you may not be running for Congress, but as Christians, we are called to stand firm in an uncompromising way. We don't have to be hateful. We are not to be hateful. We simply agree with God. That's all we do, and defend the truth of God. Rich, hey, you have been very hospitable. It's been kind of a rough evening here. We've had some technical issues tonight. Thank you for your patience. And I do have some questions, but you know what? We have 59 more days, and hopefully we'll get a chance to do this again. And brother, I just wish you the very, very best. Thank you for being very generous with us tonight.
Coach, thank you very much for having me on. I look forward to the next time. And, you're talking about when you were with the press, you were on the front row, and it's because you're a great man of integrity, and I was always very proud to have you there. And you do a good job, too, so that's just bonus.
Well,
but thank you, and God bless you, and I pray that y'all all have a wonderful weekend.
Well, Rich, you're too good, man. Thank you so much, and have a good night and safe travels tonight. And say hello to your wonderful wife, Susie. Make some pancakes in the morning.
She'll make some more pancakes.
All right. Have a good night, brother.
Thanks.
All right. Bye now. Well, folks, my heart is just enlightened. You can't help but get in a good mood after being around people like Rich Hobson running for United States Congress in the great state of Alabama.